Hey everyone, my name is Spidey and I'm an award-winning mentalist with an obsession and a degree in social psychology. And in this video, I'm going to continue to break down scenes from the hit series The Mentalist and tell you which ones are real and possible, which ones are completely fake, and in this video, I'm going to teach you how you can get a read on people and know things about them that nobody else can know. Now, if you don't watch the show, don't worry about it at all, because all the scenes I've chosen and that I'm going to break down stand on their own and you don't need to know more context. I'm gonna tell you exactly how he knows the things he knows. I'm gonna tell you when he knows things that it wouldn't really be possible in the real world to know. I'm gonna test your ability to read people, and at the end, I'm gonna give you the biggest secret I can give you that mentalists use and he admits to using to know things about people and seem like we have all this information. So there's a lot of information coming your way. Let's rapid fire a bunch of scenes starting right now.
Shrink day, huh?
No.
Yes. Yes. You have the line between your eyebrows. He annoys you, and besides, you smell a little of his cigar smoke.
Short and sweet scene where he starts by saying shrink day, huh? Now, for those of you who don't know, shrink is slang for a psychologist or a psychiatrist. So he knows accurately that she was with her psychiatrist that day because of two things. One, the smell of the cigar smoke. Now, that is extremely accurate. Cigars have a very distinct scent. And if you know anyone who smokes a certain brand of cigar, you know the scent I'm talking about. In fact, it differs from brand to brand. So she's not a cigar smoker. So by getting that scent off her, he can very much accurately know that she was around a cigar smoker. The other thing he says is the line on her forehead. Now, that happens when our eyebrows come down and close together like this. That eyebrow can indicate two things: anger or thinking. When I'm focusing on something, I do this. But he concluded that she's feeling angry. Is one sign like that enough to know someone's angry? Not necessarily, but given the context and the cigar smoke, I'm gonna go ahead and buy that. I think that's pretty accurate. Usually you need more signs on the face to know someone's angry. This alone isn't enough. Let me know in the comments, what are some other signs that indicate anger on someone's face? There's a lot of really reliable ones. Let me know in the comments. I'd love to see your thoughts, or you can ask me questions and I'd love to help you figure them out. So that scene, I like it. I think it's pretty accurate, even if there isn't enough anger going on, given the scent, given the context, given her schedule. He also knows her well. He guessed she was with the psychiatrist. I buy it. I like it. I'm gonna give that 90% accurate, that in real life, someone like that would be able to do that.
Check this out. She was a collector. She kept sand from every beach she ever went to. She would have kept a memento for her lover, something small. I bet she kept it in a fancy jewelry box, the kind with the figurine on the lid.
There was a fancy jewelry box like that in her bedroom. A ballerina.
Ballerina. She's the type.
But we checked it. There's nothing in it but cheap jewelry.
Did you check in the secret compartment?
The
secret compartment, either on the bottom or one of the sides. They usually have one.
It's worth taking a look.
Okay, that one is kind of the opposite way of the first one that we looked at. First of all, okay, he knows that she keeps mementos of things. That's fine. That's a good read on someone. It's good to know that they keep things. But to go from that to be like, oh, for sure she's kept a memento from her secret relationship, and it's definitely in a jewelry box with a figurine on top, I don't know how he can for sure assume that she's got a jewelry box of that type and that jewelry box has a secret compartment. These are all really big leaps. Now, I know it's confirmed that she has a jewelry box and it's confirmed that it has a secret compartment, but I can't remember from that episode if there was actually anything in the secret compartment. Fans of the show, let me know in the comments if you remember, was there actually something in there? My memory's failing me a little. But with this scene, there's just a little too much going on for me. Whether it's a mentalist or a behavior analyst, I know the best of both. There isn't really anything that allows us to know by looking at someone that they own a jewelry box with a figurine on top and a secret compartment. It's just not something that's a very reliable guess. So I'm gonna give this a 10% in terms of how believable it is. But again, at the end of the video, I'm going to tell you his secret, which is probably the way he did this. And with that secret, he could for sure 100% know these things about her.
The borrowed dress tells us they were going somewhere fancy and wanted to make an impression, not usually something they'd go for, or they'd have a later model car. He needed a few pulls on the scotch just to take the edge off because he was nervous about who was going to be there, which in a small town like this likely means relatives or people from his past.
Wedding maybe, or a birthday party?
No gift, which leaves?
No guessing games.
Excuse me, Sheriff. What's the name of the local high school?
Whew, so we're on a real roller coaster here. We started with a very believable scene, then we went downhill, and now we're up again. So he's got a couple, and they're both dressed very elegantly, but he notices that the woman's dress is a rental. So obviously this isn't part of their usual wardrobe. Also, he says that they probably don't go to a lot of fancy, prestigious events. It's not very important to them because if it was, their car would be a little more modern and a little more prestigious. And that is a great lesson for anyone who's trying to learn people reading. Both mentalists and behavior analysts often look for contrast. If you're looking at someone and you see two pieces of information that contrast, it's very important and you need to think about why. For example, if I see someone with a very fancy watch and their nails and hands are very well taken care of, but they're wearing old, dirty shoes, well, this really narrows down a few possibilities. For example, maybe he works behind a counter. He does something where his hands are often seen, but not his feet. Also, it could very well be that the watch is a gift. So you got to think about why that contrast is there. And in this case, he understood that they're coming to a rare occasion and they're trying to impress people. And the reason he knows it's not a wedding or a birthday is because there isn't a gift. Now, maybe there is a gift. Maybe there's an envelope in one of their pockets or something like that. But assuming they checked and there's no gift, he concludes that they're going to a high school reunion. That's a bit of a gap. There's a couple of other events that could apply. It could be a family reunion. It could be a formal event like a charity or a fundraiser that they're going to encourage someone. So there's a bit of a leap there. But besides that, there's some really great reads in that scene. I'm going to go ahead and lock in 80% real.
He's on a roll. You're on a roll. Cheap soap on an iron shirt, stomach pains, recent loss of weight. I'm gonna take a wild guess here. You're angry and unhappy because you're living in a motel, because your wife found out about the woman you're having an affair with that you don't even care for. You're a seething mass of self-loathing, and understandably so.
You son of a bitch!
Donner, my apologies.
He was completely out of line.
Okay, a lot going on here. Very little to do with mentalism, a lot to do with behavior analysis. So let's break it down. First, he knows that he's been staying in a motel because of cheap soap. Now, cheaper soaps leave a residue on the skin, almost like a pasty substance. And they also have a very distinct smell. So it's very likely that, yeah, that part, he noticed that pastiness, he smelled it. I'm gonna give him that. He also says stomach pains. When people experience stomach pains, they tend to hunch in the stomach like this, or every now and then while they're talking to you, you might see like their hand on their stomach and a bit of this because they're dealing with that. He also could have seen Pepto-Bismol or Tums or something in the guy's pocket or in the car. So that's something that I think with a bit of context and observation is possible. Then he says recent weight loss. He could probably tell that by the bagginess of the clothes. The shirt seems a little bigger than it should be, so he knows that uniform once used to fit him, it doesn't anymore. Also, earlier, as I said, anger is easy to spot on someone's face, and this sheriff is actually exhibiting quite a few signs of anger, so he knows that there's anger in this man's life. Now, to skip from that to he's having an affair, there's a big leap there. We can know when someone's having an affair in certain context, often maybe like a tan line on the ring finger, like they took their ring off recently, something like that indicates marital issues. But there's a big leap here that, oh, and then he goes, you're having an affair with a woman that you don't even like. It's a little much for me. He doesn't like, maybe he knows he doesn't like the woman he's with because he still doesn't seem happy in life. So he's like, your marriage is falling apart, but you're still not happy. But there's a couple of things that are too much that can only be explained with the big secret that I'm going to reveal at the end of this video. But for this one, we started with some good stuff, then it went downhill. 50% is what I'm giving it. With this next scene, you are going to become the detective. I want to see if you guys can spot something in someone's behavior. But before we get to that, do me a huge favor, guys. Hit that subscribe button, turn those notifications on for more amazing mentalism and psychology content.
Chief Donner says your office has received several threats from environmental activists.
Activists? No, they're terrorists. They're led by a madman, and he calls himself Jasper.
Planting development is an abomination. 100 acres of pristine wildlands raised, an entire ecosystem endangered. It must stop. It will stop no matter what needs to be done. My name is Jasper.
This is done by someone who knew what he or she was doing.
Yeah, crackpot Jasper. He's a terrorist. Check this out. Apparently, this is the same tag that Jasper used in the attack on the condos.
You guys look into this Jasper character.
Don't bother, he's a red herring.
So in this scene, we learn about a group of activists, and their leader's name is Jasper. And he's got a video where he's saying how he will never allow the forest to be taken down to make this commercial building. He's an environmentalist, and he refuses to allow that to happen. Then we cut to a scene where near that area where the building is going to happen, somebody puts the place on fire, and they make it out, and Jasper's signature is there. And finally, Patrick Jane, the mentalist, says, don't bother talking to Jasper, it's a red herring. Someone's trying to throw you off. It's not Jasper, he did not do this. So let me ask you guys this. How does he know that Jasper is not the one who did that? That this is someone trying to throw people off, blame it on Jasper, but he is not the one who did one or multiple of these crimes. I'll give you a giant clue. I talked about something earlier and told you how important it is, and it's a really big part of this. Let me know in the comments how you would know that Jasper had nothing to do with that fire in the building. And now we come to one of the most important parts of my entire Reacting to the Mentalist series. I'm going to show you two scenes that are pretty much going to expose to you exactly how Patrick Jane does a lot of what he does, and this is a real reflection of mentalists and how we operate. So this is basically going to shatter the illusion that he's always that accurate. Take a look.
How'd you know he had proof?
Oh, he's a narcissist. Needs affirmation, trophies.
Who paid you to kill Kelly?
Tell him you'll feel better.
So you never entered Mr. Sylvan's apartment and looked at the video on his computer or instructed anyone else to do so?
No.
Well, then I need you to answer a puzzling question. Your Honor, I would like to enter this into evidence as Defense Exhibit 1.
Uh-oh.
I got this mug from Mr. Sylvan's sink, but he didn't put it there. So tell me, how is it that this mug has Mr. Jane's fingerprints on it? Agent Lisbon, did your consultant break into Mr. Sylvan's home without a warrant?
No. No, of course not.
Your Honor, may I have a moment to confer with Agent Lisbon?
You make it quick. This is getting interesting. Bailiff.
That's how you knew Sylvan had proof. You'd already seen it.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Tell us what happened now.
I was with Joe. We were staking out Sylvan's place. I decided I wanted to take a walk. I happened upon Sylvan's door unlocked. And like any concerned citizen, I went in to look around and check that the place hadn't been robbed. Then I left. That's it.
There it is. The illusion of Patrick Jane's extreme accuracy kind of shattered. Because right there in the beginning, his colleague, his friend asks him, how did you know that he kept evidence from his crime? And Patrick Jane very confidently, as usual, goes, oh, he's a narcissist, obviously, blah, 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 does that usual mentalist thing. But later we find out that he broke into the guy's house, went through his things, went through his computer, saw that evidence, and then presented his knowledge of it very differently. So this, to me, puts everything he's ever done into question. Did he know that his friend was at the psychiatrist because he saw her schedule or someone told him? Did he know that that police officer was going through a divorce and having an affair because he spoke to some of the colleagues and heard someone talk about it? Did he know about the high school reunion because he read something in a newspaper or saw something on his way there? It really puts into question because he's always just saying, oh, well, I know because of this and I know because of that. But this is evidence that he has other means of obtaining information, and that is such a great metaphor for actual mentalism. When a mentalist is on stage and we say, I'm going to look at your body language and I'm going to analyze your movements and I'm going to influence you, it's never what we're doing. We have other ways to get that information and we just present it that way. So it's beautiful. It's amazing. It's exactly what mentalism is, but it puts into question everything he's ever known.
I will bet you that I can pick first, second, and third horse. Any race you choose, Mr. Barnes, and you're my witness.
Next race. $500 says you can't.
See you at the payout window after the race. One, two, three.
1, 2, 3. Did it?
Do it again.
Some other time.
How much did you bet?
50?
50 large.
No, 50 cents. It cost a lot to win that. I had to cover every three-way combination of every horse in the race. Cost me $5,000, and I only won $486.
Wait a minute. So you can't read horses?
Of course not. But it's always a good idea to seem like you know what you're talking about. Fosters trust.
And there it is, the most important line in the entire series that perfectly explains who he is. He says, it's a good idea to seem like you know what you're talking about because it fosters trust. That's it. That explains everything he is. That explains everything mentalists are. We typically present so confidently that you feel like we can do things that we can't. And in the last breakdown video, I showed you a scene where a woman was lying. He needed to know if she was lying or not. And he just kind of looked at her really confidently and said, no, you're lying. That's not true what you just said. And she ended up confessing. And this is exactly why. He just said it himself. He didn't know. He just acted so confidently certain that he did know that she trusts him and goes, yeah, well, I guess he already knows. Might as well just tell him. And that's how he operates so often. So it's kind of like we now understand that he has this overconfidence. He gets information in other ways. And by combining those two skills, he makes it seem like he's this master at reading people. And that's exactly what mentalism is. And there's a lot of examples on this channel that you can learn to convince people that you can do it too. So there it was, guys. I really hope you enjoyed this. There was a lot of great information on this one about people reading and the illusion that mentalists create about how good we are at doing that. Let me know in the comments what you guys thought. Let me know if you have any questions as well. And I hope to see you on the next one.